Hello, hello. Hopefully this is all working. Let me get the webcam. Hi. Um, Welcome to the stream. Uh, First of all, I should probably introduce myself. My name is Adam, and I'm the person who runs Tater-Tot Tunes. I've done all the music and a lot of the art over the past couple years since 2017. And in case you haven't heard, I was given the awesome opportunity to work with Platonic on doing a full cover album for Yooka Laylee and Impossible Lair, and it features a wide variety of music from uh, four different composers, and it was just an awesome project. And so the plan today is really just to play through some of the game, because this music is actually in the game, and it's a free update. You can play it for yourself, Yooka Laylee and Impossible Lair, and yeah, I highly recommend checking it out. We're going to be playing through a couple levels that I've chosen just to listen to some of the music. I'll also be taking questions throughout if you leave them in the chat. In fact, let me get that pulled up. Um, Also, let me know if the audio and stuff is all working. I did a sound check a couple minutes ago, but who knows? Could have all changed. YouTube does do that sometimes. Hello. Yes, I'm getting all the chat messages. All right. Yeah. So the roadmap is, yeah, we're gonna play a bit of Yooka Laylee and Impossible Lair. Um, Probably like 4 or 5 levels. Probably for like 45 minutes. So this will probably go until 1:45-ish, and then after that we're gonna transition over, and I'm gonna show some behind the scenes, first ever behind the scenes looks at how I make my music, and I'll also still answer questions at that time. And I'd love to like just help more people be able to do this kind of stuff. Um, yeah, yeah. So we just started. If anyone has just joined, it's just gonna be kind of a chill stream. We're just gonna play some games, and I'll just try and read chat and answer some questions. So yeah, I also have a little checklist. I gotta make sure I might forget some stuff. Oh, seemed pretty good. Let's see if I can get the game going. Yeah, so if you guys haven't heard of this game, this is Yooka Laylee and the Impossible Lair, which is a completely different game from the first game, the first Yooka Laylee. And this just came out this past year, and it's a lot more in line with like the 2D platformers of the 90s, so it's like very Donkey Kong Country-esque. There's also some Yoshi's Island elements in there, and even some like Rayman stuff from like the recent Rayman Origins. And it's just a blast. And yeah, so first let's just dive into like the first level. And so again, to sort of recap, what I did for this game was in a post-launch update, I was given the opportunity to make some. Oh, my controller just turned off. I was given the opportunity to make some, because I had done a couple 8-bit remixes for the series before the game came out, but they wanted to bring me in and do a full cover album that would play in the game. So if you want to do this for yourself, let me actually turn this down. It's loud on my end. So if you want to turn this on for yourself, it's available in every game right now. It's on Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox, PC. You just go into sound, just go right down to 8-bit level music, and you can just check that right on. And it even has, for most of the levels, it has a really cool transition, because it's playing right on top of the other music, and they did an excellent job on that. Okay, let me switch over. I just want to catch up. So at this point, I'll be playing most of it in 8-bit, but I do also love the music. The music is done primarily by two new composers to the series, Dan Murdoch, Matt Griffin, and then two returning composers, David Wise and Grant Kirkhope. But then I did the 8-bit remixes, which are remixes of their compositions. So yeah, so this is the first level in the game, and right away, this song gave me a lot of Diddy Kong Racing vibes, if any of you guys are fans of that. That was the first game I ever played. It's one of my favorite Rare games. Also, the music was by David Wise. And just the upbeat style of it definitely harkened back to that era of Rare, in my opinion. I just realized I don't really have a good strategy for reading. Transition is really hard to hear for you. Yeah, I guess just have to try it for yourself in-game, which you can do if you get the game. And there's also some promotions going on right now. I know that if you own the first Yooka-Laylee, you can get this game for half off. I know for sure that's on Switch and probably other things. Just Switch is what I know for sure, but I'd recommend checking it out. You can see right away there's a lot of Donkey Kong Country styled gameplay mechanics. Like you've got a similar roll, you've got you can chain attacks similar to Donkey Kong Country games, but there also is a lot that's different, and a lot of that is in the overworld specifically, and some of the level design. And this is a good little tutorial level. Just kind of peaceful, sets the scene. I can't really like read the chat and play at the same time. So actually, yeah, that's what I'll do. If I have any mods in the chat, could you compile, if there's any good questions or thoughtful questions, could you compile them into like a list and then maybe message me over Discord when I finish a level? That might be better. So that I can like not have to stop every couple seconds. Do keep in mind, I've never streamed before, never done videos before, so this is very new. Oh yeah, okay. So here's a cool thing. So I didn't want to just have, I mean, because in the Donkey Kong Country games and a lot of 2D platformers, there's always like the cool underwater variations for the music, and so I didn't want that to be left out of the cover album. Well, no, I mean it is left out of the cover album, but the in-game versions, there are underwater versions. You can hear a little nice, kind of calmer take of the song. Kind of swapped out some of the instruments. The bass isn't nearly as low. Like, I think this one's probably one of the more striking ones where you can notice the difference. I'll be kind of quiet for a second. Very peaceful. And yeah, as you can imagine, I mean that's how it is in the normal soundtrack too. I'm just, it's just fun because I've yet to actually have like my music appear in a game like this, so it's really cool. There you got like kind of like the barrel mechanics a little bit. That one's more like a shell in like the Mario games though. And there's also lots of secrets in this game to explore. It's very much like a combination of like Donkey Kong Country, some of the exploration of the original Yooka-Laylee, and some other stuff. And here's like the end of the level in a second. And yes, I have beaten the Impossible Lair, so and they just came out with an update that makes it much easier because some people were having trouble with it, but it also makes it to where you can do it in a much harder way than I've ever done it. So I'll be doing one attempt of that at the end of this. You even thought of the underwater themes. I'm a big fan of this series. When I first heard about this opportunity, I was so excited, and like it wasn't a question that I would be doing water themes. And the thing is, it's not even that hard. Like a lot of it was just copying over the notes to like a different instrument. It took like probably 30 minutes. So all right, I don't want to reveal too much of the game because I know probably some of you guys haven't played it, and I don't want to give spoilers. So this is the overworld. I'll show off just a little bit of that. It has so much depth to it. It's really amazing. It's kind of like a mini, if you've played the original Yooka-Laylee or if you've played the Banjo games, it's kind of like that, but it's got more like kind of Zelda elements. Just it encourages you to explore every nook and cranny. You're solving little riddles. And I think I have pretty much solved all of them because I have most all the tonics. I gotta explain what the tonics are too. That will come later. But yeah, and like the other thing is, each level has 2 versions. So there's the normal version. So for this one, this is the factory level. It's called Factory Fright. But if you manipulate the overworlds, and it's different for every level, it becomes a whole new level if you find the right way to interact with it. So now it's Factory Fright Flooded. So now it's an underwater level where you're swimming through the factory. That in the first version it was very metallic and very fast, and now it's a lot slower and a lot more calm. And I gotta think, because I did have some ideas of the levels I want to do, but I think I'll go for a variety of them. And once again, I'll only do like a couple, so that there's still plenty to play through on your own if you decide to get this game. Oh, and of course, I should also mention, I forgot about that. Of course I did. You can get the soundtrack for the game, or the cover album that I did, right now on Bandcamp. It's available on Spotify, Apple Music, and a couple other things that, like, some of which I haven't even heard of. But any view, any purchase, that all supports me. So it's greatly appreciated if you do check that out. That music, all 50 something tracks in that cover album will not be available, other than like maybe 3 of them, on my channel, purely because I couldn't really spam the channel with that many, but there's so many in there that I think are some of my best work, so I highly recommend checking that out. What am I doing in the water right now? I'm trying to make my way to a level. Which one do I want to do? Oh yeah, okay, let's do... Yeah, okay. Oh, no, actually, I know what I want to do. I kind of want to avoid using the map for warps, because I don't want to, like, show it all off. 'Cause I feel like that's potentially a little bit spoilery. Oh yeah, I'll do, wait. Yeah, I'll do this one. So this one's a water level. And yeah, once again, so I guess I should talk about, or I forgot about the questions thing. Yeah, I guess, okay, if there's any mods still watching, after this level, I will, if there's any questions about this, about anything, really, I'll take questions about anything, on my channel. I'd love to answer it. If you could just compile, like, copy paste it and then just message it to me on Discord, which I just realized you probably did. I have it muted, so I didn't even think of that. And here I go, messing up. Alright, so I don't want to take forever on the levels, so I'm not going to look through every nook and cranny, but I was particularly proud of this remix because I love the drum sound. I really played with, like, getting kind of booming drums, and I probably should turn it up so you can hear it, unless you can hear it already. Ah, thanks, ISO. Yeah, you got a list. Yeah, alright. Oh yeah, and I've got, like, one of the square waves is, like, a percussion instrument. This one was fun. This one was originally composed by Dan Murdoch. As far as I know, this is, like, one of his debut games as, like, an actual, like, composer doing music. Because I know he's worked on one of the Batman Arkham Knight series games. I'm not too familiar with them, but the headliner for this game is that the 2 newer composers who worked on it hit it out of the park. And like when I was first playing it, like, it's kind of like always a thing when there's like an ensemble of composers for me, because that's something I like to know about. It's kind of like a guessing game, like who did what track, who composed what, and there were a lot of ones in here because they had a really, like, steady theme that totally tricked me. Like, it would sound very similar to something that Dave Wise would have done, or even some of them, like, sound like something Grant would have done. And until I got the official soundtrack, I was, like, stunned. Or once I got the official soundtrack, I was stunned that they had pulled off the same feel, like so perfectly. And I guess that kind of like even made me feel like the bar was like raised for doing like remixes. There's definitely like a lot of influences for where I did the remixes, or pulled from. Like specifically a lot of like, because I think Dave Wise is the only one who actually made like NES music back in the day of these composers. So because yeah, Grant did like I think he did like a couple Game Boy games or something, but I specifically like a lot of Battletoads, Time Lord, Solar Jetman. Those are games by Rare from back in the day that there's a lot of references throughout to those. I mean, everyone will know about like Battletoads and stuff, but oh no. Oh, goodbye. Yeah, that's the other thing. So there's like a hit system in this game where it's kind of like Yoshi's Island, where when you get hit, Baby Mario goes flying away, except it's not nearly as ear-piercing. But basically that's like your extra hit. Ooh. Wow, I can't believe I survived that. I don't know why I'm carrying this bomb thing. I'm not even really thinking about the game. I mean, I've been playing Donkey Kong Country games for years and years, so like, just get rid of that guy. Oh, and I could have used it down there, except I don't need to because I already have all the coins. Yes, there are coins. They're kind of like the collectibles. Oh wait, there's one in here. I'm not even gonna use it. Where am I supposed to go? Am I supposed to go down here? Oh yeah, okay. I thought that was an optional path. Yeah, so this level reminds me. I want to say maybe in Donkey Kong Country Returns, there's probably a lot of gears. Something's up with those boxes there. That was normal. Yeah. A lot of people have made comparisons for this game, from this game to like Donkey Kong Country Returns and the original Donkey Kong Country games. One I haven't heard as much is like the Rayman games. I think that like, I don't know what it is actually. Something. Oh, that was a mistake. Isn't there like a coin here? Ooh, spoilers. Thank you. I'm reading some nice things in the chat. One thing this game also does really good is it makes getting the quills really, really fun and satisfying to just get a ton. It's like in this example right here. Ah, very, very, very nice. Just get them all on the line. Ah, will I get it? Yes. Actually, isn't this like the end of the level right here? Yeah. Cool. Yeah, and I had a couple tonics on there, so I got some bonus quills from that. Alright, I gotta go on Discord and check. So yeah, so like I said, I've had some of my, I had a couple people modded on YouTube that will send me some questions. Which level was the hardest other than Impossible Lair? So if you're talking about like hardest to play, other than Impossible Lair, there's one over here called Boom Bloom Blast that is like a cannon level, and it reminds me so much of the cannon levels from the original Donkey Kong Country. There's one that's like a snowy cannon level, and I just remember that one was like the hardest, and it's right here. That one's really hard, but if you were talking about music, which one was hardest to do, which I don't think... I'll still answer that. I don't know. Well, it depends, because there's like 50, so that's like a lot. But one of the harder... I mean, there were some that I didn't get on like the first try, like one of them called Production Path, which sung by Matt Griffin. There was like... I had started working on it when gameplay clips were just revealed. And because I really liked the song, I thought it sounded really cool. And what happened was I accidentally got the lead wrong. I got like a little part of it wrong, and that's the one on the YouTube channel right now, on my YouTube channel. It's actually uploaded and the lead is wrong. And it's corrected in the album version, but I look back on that and now I can totally hear it. But because I was listening so hard in gameplay footage, it like warped my sense of the song. Alright, I absolutely love the Paper Mario music you've done. Do you plan on doing any more from the Paper Mario series? Absolutely. I think my favorite soundtrack is the Super Paper Mario series. I definitely plan on doing much more of that, and yeah. Have you played any other instruments than trumpets? Yes, so I play a little bit of keyboard for so some of my recent synth remixes, and actually even in this cover album, I did a little bit of live playing, but then there's like a specific style that you want to go for with chiptune music, and you don't want to have kind of live sounding stuff. But there was one song where I was improvising on a couple chords, and then I would kind of take my favorite parts of that and just redo it. And also, I've been working on playing the accordion. I have an accordion sitting right over there in the case. The accordion is an instrument I've always been fascinated by, and I think it'd be really cool to just kind of be able to play my own full song on there. Because on the keyboard, I've never been really good with like my left hand playing stuff. So, and the last question: can I use your Yooka remixes in non-commercial videos when buying, or is that against the rules? I don't really know for sure. I can't really remember off the top of my head the agreement worked out, but I would say go with your gut. Like any game music, I think for the most part you're probably fine if you use it in videos. Like people use the current Yooka Laylee soundtrack in their own videos, so I mean I assume you're fine as long as it's not just like a re-upload, because it is all available on Spotify, it's all available on Bandcamp and plenty of other places that are easy to get to. So but if you use it in background, I think that's probably fine. But you might want to also check with Materia, who is the one who is handling the distribution of all that, but it's probably fine. All right, so I want to move on to another level, because I'm trying to think. I want to go to one that I can talk about the music. I'll go. Okay, I know which one I'll go to. Yeah, I'll work to it. Close your eyes if you want spoilers. Which one is it? Yeah, there it is. Oh, actually, no, I'll do both versions of this. I'll show off the state change, because I know some of you guys might want to see kind of what that entails. It's not just like, it's not always just water version, regular version. A lot of the state changes like open up completely new paths and branch off, and it's basically an entirely different level. In fact, I don't think there are any that are even remotely similar in actual gameplay, but you can kind of tell that they're the same level because you can see familiar landmarks. Didn't I? Oh, wait. I forgot. I haven't done the... When this update came out, I was playing on my Switch to check out the remixes in-game, and I think this was like the last level I beat, but I forgot how to do the switchback. So this is Pumping Plants, and it's a familiar tune from the first Yooka Laylee, but with a little bit of a twist. Yeah, so yeah, right away, kind of overgrown factory setting. You might want to remember that for later. And again, yeah, if the audio is too quiet, it's kind of important. But yeah, another underwater variation here. Yeah, with underwater variations, I didn't want it to seem like it was even breaking like NES limitations at that point. So I think I tried to share a lot of the same, like not change it up too much to where it was like jarring, which, wow, I'm about to die. Hopefully I never die, because that would be a shame. Oh yeah, no, it just played. So I'll point out when the familiar song, if you're a Yooka Laylee fan of the first game, and you haven't played this game, or even if you have, you might not have even noticed. Yeah, there it goes. So what's playing right now, the theme that's playing is, it's a theme by Grant Kirkhope from the first Yooka-Laylee. Ooh, no, no. It's a theme from the first Yooka-Laylee. Oh, I have the, oh no. Oh, actually, I'll just use this as an excuse. Okay, so I have Tonic right now equipped that's less checkmates. So basically, I have to start all the way over from the level because I died. Alright, I'll take that off because I don't want to get stuck. But I'll equip a couple fun ones, and maybe I'll equip a chiptune-y looking one, or not chip, retro-y looking one. I think I prefer doing. Well, let's do Pixel. Oh, that's Game Boy. Resolution, colors, and one more. What can we do? I'll do this one because I like that. So these are tonics, so they're basically like status effects or like power-ups that you can equip in the game. And I actually just realized that probably will look really bad on the stream, because I can already tell it's chugging in my computer to do all these effects and stream and have FL Studio open in another window. I'll turn it off in a second, but if you wanted to go for the full authentic, actually, I think maybe there's one other thing I could do. If you want to go for the authentic kind of NES experience, then I think doing the outline might. Yeah, there you go. So having the outline, that's my combo. Outline, pixel graphics, and then pixel color NES colors. That's like the closest I think you can get it to looking like really NES-like. And if I had this when I was doing remixes, it actually would have been. I could have grabbed like stuff because I think I did all the art for the remixes I did of this, except for I did not do the Yooka-Laylee sprites. I got that off of DeviantArt. I'm just really bad at doing custom character sprites, but I'm decent at like tiles for like platforms. Yeah, so I want to watch out. There's like some poison down there, and in fact, yeah, I'll turn off the tonic now just because I want to show that, but I also don't want my stream to die. So instead, let's turn on a couple of fun ones. I'll do that one later. I'll do this one now. I lose all my quills. Oh well, I have basically everything. So this one, they're usually pretty like harmless. They don't like. Oh yeah, this one adds like a. At least I don't have to start at the beginning. The first one of them's called Human, and it makes Yooka. I think just Yooka. I don't know if Yooka-Laylee gets any changes. Get like a more humanoid form, and it's just lovably weird. I don't think that spin attack. Oh yeah, so I also equipped one that's a spin attack that lets the twirl in the air actually attack enemies, which did not come in handy there. But it's okay, because I don't need that anymore. Yeah, I gotta watch out for that poison. In fact, yeah, this level even looks very reminiscent of the Ivory Towers, which I got sidetracked. I was talking about the fact that this song is a remix of the Ivory Towers theme from the original Yooka-Laylee. And I was happy to incorporate that too. What am I doing on time? 1:30. If I die one more time, I will not complete the level. Although I don't. Ooh, I made it. Oh no. That's the other thing. Yeah, you can grab Laylee when she starts flying around. Although I think in a second I don't know. Oh, I hope my Steam. Are my Steam messages going up? That I don't want to like expose anybody. I will edit that right after this level. I would hope not. That'd be really dumb. I really love the colors of this level. It looks very like, I love the like kind of reds, purples, and then the green. Like, if I would have had a lot of fun doing the art for this one if I had done this one. Which yeah, also I will be posting 1 or 2 more of the remixes from the cover album, but I'm not gonna be doing special art for those just because I don't know. I'd rather use like the album art. And speaking of which, the album art was done by Kev Bayless, and it's really cool. It has like a cool retro effect, like CRT stuff. And if you don't know who he is, he did like some of the original renders for Donkey Kong back in the SNES days, and he's also doing like projects called Salamandos right now, where it's a collaboration with David Wise actually for music and art based on their old projects in the 90s. And just a little background on that. I've got a lot to talk about, as you can probably tell. I could ramble for a long time. Yeah, there's a good example of, hey, I beat level. Okay. Okay, I gotta scroll up, because I was gonna read. I saw there's some more questions. Can you cover Chinese Ninja Warrior from Mortal Kombat? Shameful thing to admit, I never really played Mortal Kombat. Although I've heard the music's pretty good. I'd love to look into it. Oh yeah, so I was gonna show the state change for this. But yeah, no, like I'm always open to doing stuff even if I haven't played the game. Oh wait, I did the opposite thing I wanted to do there. Embarrassment. Okay, so now this is the state 2, and basically, as you can see, the factory now has electricity, so it's now powered. Is there anything else? You feel restricted by chiptune. Oh yeah, I gotta do the Steam thing. Here, I'll just answer these. Do you feel restricted by chiptune, and how do you overcome that feeling? No, actually, restrictions are a really fun thing for music, because I feel like when I've tried for a while to kickstart like doing a lot more synthwave stuff and kind of expanding from chiptune, but like having those limitations forces me to make decisions to cut certain things and reorchestrate stuff to sound good for like 2 or 3 channels. So I feel like actually like I would prefer imposing my own random restrictions even on stuff when I don't need to. Let me get some water. How'd you learn how to make sprites? Well, if you go back to my channel, I mean, like, the first time I ever did art, well, no, I don't know, when did I start doing art? I used to do, like when I first started the channel, I didn't even really know what I was going to do for art, and a very cool dude named Atari Dude came in, and he helped me out with some art and did some art for my videos, and that kind of was like, he did some like cool pixel art. I was doing like Mario Odyssey stuff, and he was just like kind of showing me like how to do this stuff, and at a certain point I started trying my own hand at it, and it was pretty bad, but you can go back and you can see the progression. Like, I don't think I'm even that good right now, but like there's some things that I can say I'm proud of in artwork. What was the question again? How do you learn how to make sprites? Well, all I can say is just, well, actually, if you look in some of my art, there's also a lot of edits where I would take like the original sprites from a game and tweak them in a lot of ways. So I would say tweaking sprites is a really good way of learning about what makes them look good. And if you want to make like a cool brick kind of thing, maybe even just get like a brick from like Super Mario Brothers or Zelda or something, and just look and see how it's shaded and how it's made. Although I can't really claim to have any knowledge on that because I'm not really an artist. So I hope you can hear this. So this one I went hardcore Battletoads, and I'll show this one behind the scenes. But oh, and actually I can show into back, this is the one that I probably changed the most of the original, and not for any bad reason. The original one's great too. I'll turn off. Already, like, so you can tell this isn't just like 8-bit covers like I normally do. I really did reimagine a lot of these. Oh yeah, and I should probably say, for those of you who joined after I started the stream, hello, my name's Adam, and I do remixes, and I was given this awesome opportunity to do these remixes for Yooka Laylee and Impossible Lair, and so that's what I'm playing through. And now that you're caught up, you can see right away, I went for a much more upbeat approach with the remix than the original one had. And if you remember, in the last level, you jump down into the water there, but because of the electricity, you can't do that. So this is where the level breaks off, and it's just an entirely new level at this point. And I just showed off another little secret. There's lots of secrets to find. What did I just do? Got all these like tonics on that are messing me up because I don't normally play with tonics. Like, that alter the gameplay. I usually use all the ones that give me tons of quills. So yeah, okay. So if you're wondering which Battletoads song this is specifically referencing, there's one called what is it called actually? It's like the second level. It's like the one where you're falling, like in the it's, I don't know. You're on like the ropes and like, I can't even remember what it's called. But, ooh, yeah. But that one, originally by David Wise. This song was not originally by David Wise. This one was by Dan Murdoch. I just thought this one really seemed to fit the same kind of style. And so if you listen to those back to back, you'll hear immediately where I drew the influence. Although I will say, for disclaimer, nothing was taken explicitly from that song. I just recreated instruments similar to how they were in the original. Because, yeah, that could get into like a mess of legal troubles, and don't want that. Yeah, here we just gotta stay above the water because we don't want to get killed by that. And yeah, if you're a fan of like Kirby style remixes, there's one or two in here that I did that were kind of Kirby styled. There's some stuff kind of from everything that I've ever done I've kind of referenced, because there's 50 tracks I could do. I mean, I had to keep it fresh too. Yeah, this is oh, I didn't even put a link to the I'm not very good at this, but it's okay. We're just here to have fun, and I'm dead. I think we're gonna move on to the next level because I don't have time to go back to that, but you get the gist of that. Alright, cool. Okay, so it seems like we're up to date on questions. Actually, I want to go back to the chat and just look a little bit because oh yeah, okay, so I see some more questions. Also, hey, I forgot, you pronounce your YouTube name Looter, right? Because I've heard like a little bit of debate about that, but great to see you here. I see you asked what's your favorite cover you've done. That's also hard because that changes constantly, but specifically from this, the last track I did, which is a remix of a song called Pagey Power, from Yooka Laylee, originally by Matt Griffin, but it's more of a medley. I made it into like a medley where I referenced like probably like 10 or 11 different songs from the game extensively, and even one of them that's not even in the game, that's kind of like a kind of meme-y thing for the Yooka Laylee community. But otherwise, probably the most proud remix I've done, I did like two like more instrumental remixes of music from Diddy Kong Racing DS, which has a very underrated soundtrack, and that was also by David Wise. And I did two kind of instrumental covers, so not chiptune, not Super Nintendo, not N64. These were just using sound libraries and things that I purchased. and I just was really satisfied with how those turned out, and I definitely want to continue in that direction. Alright, I'm gonna scroll. Why does Yuka's face in that second tonic look like an anime Nicolas Cage? I would not know the answer to that one. Oh, my Steam messages aren't showing up. Perfect. Awesome. I know I missed a lot. I can't really read the chat like constantly, but I want to keep things interesting, so let's go on to another song. What do I want to do? Oh, I'll do if you don't want to see the whole map, because the map is a big part of it, then don't. What do I want to do? I'll do one more level. What time is it? It's 1:43. Yeah, so one more level. I want it to be a cool one. I want it to be like, I like all the remixes, but I want it to be something that'll have something to like talk about. And an interesting thing, there's a couple, because I played through the whole game just to hear, like I went through each level to like listen to how the music sounds in game, and there's a couple that sounded way better in game than I thought they would. And keep in mind, I mean, of course, like, this is chiptune music. This game is like 3D, so there were some hurdles to overcome with that, and that included making the music stereo quality instead of mono, which the NES could only do mono. The Game Boy could do some stereo. It could do like full left ear, full right ear, but it couldn't do like anything in between. But for this, because of the 3D nature of the game, it was decided pretty early on that we would do stereo. I'm trying to think, there's one that I have some interesting stuff to talk about. There's a lot, but this is tough choices. Oh, I'll do okay, wait, where is it? Yeah, alright, I know which one I'll do. Another state change that you can do with water, except this one's not, it doesn't make it a water level. It instead causes a very deserty like level to be very full and grown and jungly. Just imagine, glad I survived that. Just imagine before this level would be very barren and wastelandy. This one, I didn't think of this at the time, but when I was playing this, I thought, like, I got very kind of Game Boy Donkey Kong Land vibes from what I went for here, but I don't think I thought of that, so I don't really know. And yeah, this song was done by Matt Griffin as well. He did the majority of the soundtrack. And Grant Kirkhope did the Overworld themes. I didn't mention that. So, does the one I started with have? Did I? Oh yeah, the first one I did had some Dave Wise. Always gotta have some Dave Wise in there. He's also got. Oh no. I hope I don't die. The cool thing is, yeah, you can get by without Laylee. No offense to Laylee, she'll be very offended if she heard that. This is why I like the level. So, this one has, when you get to this part, it changes to an upbeat section. And so I just wanted to point out right here, even how like, oop. I was thinking it might have started there. But it's gonna loop this part until it does this in the original one too. Like, this isn't anything unique to my song. I just liked that we got it working that way, because it was very possible that it wouldn't. The song reminded me of something, but I can't remember what it is. Something about like the chord structure or maybe the main melody, but Yeah, as you can see, I mean, already, like, if you've seen a couple of these levels, like, you can see how much variety there is. Like, this is almost like, there's something like this, I think, in Tropical Freeze, maybe. But I love, like, little on-rail sections like that. Oh, yeah, and there you go. And then, come on. Oh, no. Ah, she's long gone. Wait, wait. Well, you can hear that, in there the melody went out, so that's like the only place that it does that. Now we're gonna do an Impossible Lair run. Oh yeah, and if you notice the colors, like, it's not your monitor, it's not my monitor. I have a tonic on that changes the colors. Okay, let me look at the, oh shoot, I haven't been keeping up with this stream. This is more important than your education. Of course it is. Okay, how did you come up with the channel theme of Tater-Tots? I don't really remember. I think I just needed a name, and I was just like, ever since I was younger, I would make, like, little characters for things that would just be based on foods. And I think I was just like, oh, I had Tater-Tots for lunch today. And I remember I, like, drew, like, a character, and I was just like, oh yeah, okay, that'll work. And that was it. It's not really, like, an integral part of the channel. There's no hidden meaning or symbolism. I literally don't know. But it works. It's just supposed to be a little bit memorable. And I can make a profile picture. I think originally I was going with, like, I had, like, an idea. It was just, like remixes or, like, covers of video game music. It was just something like that for the channel name. And I was like, that won't fly. I'm getting a little bit of stuttering, but I'm not sure why. It might be my stream, but like the fact that it's going. But so this is an area from the first game. So there's, like, interconnectivity there. And yeah, so now I'll just do a run of the Impossible Lair with no bees. So, oh yeah, that's the other thing. I should explain how that works. So in this game, the kind of central goal is every level you beat, at any time you can attempt the Impossible Lair, and any level you beat gives you a bee that acts as, like, a hit. So, like, the bee he's like a little guardian, and they kind of all swarm around you. And so as you're going through the lair, like, if you get hit by an enemy or you fall down, that'll cost 1 bee. And so after you complete all the levels, there's, like, 40 of them, and then there's 8 on the overworld, which I have all of them. You get that many hits, and so I could do that with 48 hits, but they added in now you can do it with no hits, and so I would like to try that. I won't beat it, I'm not that good, but you also might want to tune out past a certain point if you don't like spoilers. And I highly recommend playing this game. This game, I think, has been slept on by, like, some people who, like, would really like it. Like, it's been pretty much universally acclaimed. Speech bubbles. We don't just skip right to the fight. I was watching some live streams, and I've learned some tricks. Like, I've learned to not be as afraid of, like, capital B when he's doing his moves, because usually you can get, like, a hit in, and it won't matter. And I also learned about that you can do, like, a ground pound, and, like, most of the stuff. That's the other thing. Like, the gameplay is super fluid. Very, like, I guess, yeah, the gameplay and the feel of the characters reminds me more of, like, Rayman, probably. Like the new ones that were on the, like, the one was on the, like, Wii U. Yeah, so this is Impossible Lair. It's a very tough challenge, and there's lots of people who have had a very hard time beating it with good reason. Oh no. No, not already. I just realized I completely forgot that I don't even have extra hits, so, like, and the other thing is, like, Laylee will start to fly away faster if you get hit, like, often, which I am doing. This might be a short run, and I don't really take this very, like, I'm not very careful about this, which is probably not a good idea. And you do get a special surprise if you beat it with without using any bees. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Yes! Okay. Those are nasty. They really get in your way. Wow! Wow, that was really close. Well, this is the final stretch. Actually, I've gotten really far with just Yooka before. But, like, right here, like, how do I... There. There we go. That was bound to happen. Yes, yes, epic fail. I know, I know. What is going on? I want to catch up a little bit in the chat. Yeah, so this game, it's very like similar in gameplay to like Tropical Freeze. They both kind of borrow from the same like origins of like the Donkey Kong Country style platformers, but they do diverge at a certain point. I'll give it one more shot. But yeah, like I think Impossible Lair, it focuses more on like the cartoony side of like a platformer, whereas Tropical Freeze, you know, like Donkey Kong, it's got like the very heavy weight. Like they kind of went for a more like a balance of like realism, but with some cartoony stuff to it. But the one thing they do share is David Wise music, which you can't go wrong with. So I don't know which one I like better, but they both have music by David Wise, so that's a plus. And that's actually like my favorite soundtrack of his. It's like the full soundtrack. This stuff in here is also really good, but like out of his full soundtracks, that one's probably my favorite. That or like Donkey Kong Country 2 is kind of the gimme answer. I have to kind of be a contrarian. Some people are very opinionated. I'm already doing better. I got hit there last time. I just need to like zone out. When I start talking about stuff, I easily forget. And it's just like all muscle memory at that point. It's interesting, there's some lore in this game too. There's like a whole thing about something called the Infinity Ink, and that you can see it in the background actually. Some people have been talking about it, and I've been very intrigued as to what this story is leading up to, because and yeah, like the sort of story of this game, without going into spoilers of the secret ending, which of course I watched even though I haven't beaten it, at the end of the first Yooka Laylee, when they defeated Capital B, he was thrown into this Grand Tome, unnamed Grand Tome, and that is this world, and he basically took it over, and now it's Yooka and Laylee's job to fix it. And that's actually, funny enough, a theme that I've noticed in this game is Yooka Laylee causing lots of problems, which I think was also something that happened in like Banjo and Conquer. And of course, you know, they share developers, so that's to be expected. Like if you think about the state changes, most of them are actually causing destruction. Like one of them, a town gets destroyed. The other one, a factory that's like doing evil things gets powered on. Oh, I lost Laylee. Okay, I know how to get past this. Yeah, they like power on like evil factories and stuff. The only one that I think is even remotely good was the last one I played, which was where they hydrate that forest or the jungle. But like, no, they're kind of like a chaotic pair. They're gonna stop at nothing to get the bees, and then all I can say is, at the end there's a little twist that's also kind of playing to the same theme. So, oh, I can't do the. No, I can't do it. Okay. Normally you can bounce up the enemies. Hey, I made it. I don't know how long it's gonna load, but let me see if there's any more quick questions. Whoa, lots of quick chats. I've been thinking it's kind of missed potential. This album wasn't called the Rextra remix. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it. I mean, I had no hand in naming it, but um, that could, I guess, sort of explain his absence in the game. But they also might have wanted to leave it out because of that, so I'm not really sure. Um, I do love Rextra though. No. All right, that's gotta be it for the game. Anyway, if you liked what you saw, I highly recommend getting the game. Once again, it is on sale on Steam and other places probably. All I know is it's for sure. Actually, let me check. I don't want to be wrong about this. There's some sort of sale going on right now. Check. It'll definitely be on the Playtonic Twitter. Yeah, so I see there's one about Nintendo Switch. You can get it if you own the original Yooka Laylee. You can get this one 50% off. So I recommend whatever you can. Just really cool game. And now I want to switch to some behind-the-scenes stuff. So this is more hands-on. Let me sort of switch over here to some FL Studio. Speaking of which, yeah, let's see. How's everything going? I want to catch up. Were there any new questions or anything important that I should look into? And it's fine if not. I just want to make sure that I'm just gonna scroll up a little bit. Epic fail. Yeah, thank you for the support during the Impossible Lair run. And yeah, also, of course, I still take requests, although I did a big, like a big request event thing at the beginning of this year on my Discord server, and so I've got a huge list right now that I'm planning to go through. I was kind of busy with, projects like this, but I'm planning to really start cranking those out. Not all of them, but most of them. Or some of them. Maybe not even most, but I go through a lot of those, and so that's the way I do requests now, because I don't want to just kind of pick randomly. I want to, like from comments, I mean, because I do read all comments, but sometimes it's hard for me to get them all in one place. Let's check. Playtonic said the game would be 50% off on eShop, but it's only 33. I mean, do you own the first game? Because it might be contingent on that, or they might just be wrong. Who knows? It's also I don't even think the game's that expensive. I can't remember how much it costs, but it's definitely worth it. It's not a full budget like price that normal big games like would cost. And this is like a full game. It's not just like a spin-off. It's like a full game. Alright, I think I'm caught up for the most part. It's funny because I know some of my Discord mods who are in this chat. Check Discord and scroll up your comments in general. I will do that. Would you mind posting it again? Because I actually don't want to spend time looking over it all. Oh, perfect. I just see this. What song was most fun to work on? And actually, yeah. Let me update I have to post I have a link to where you can find these soundtracks on Spotify, Bandcamp, everywhere. Just listening on Spotify, that kind of stuff supports me. And it's greatly appreciated. Apologies if I kind of slur my speech, because headphones, I don't know, just my headphones kind of block out some of the sound, and I'm also kind of hungry. I might get something to eat in a little bit. Where do I put this? I'll post this in the actual stream chat. Is this the right chat? I don't even know. on my computer. I've got like a chat up. I'll post the link there if you're interested. Yeah, this is the right chat. Keep in mind there is some delay here, so uh, what else? Oh yeah, I'll add it to the description of this video because this will go up as like a VOD on my channel. Okay. I think of making a darker Animal Crossing main theme. Interestingly, when when all the like fires were going on in California, um, I just like not because of that, but I had an idea. I was like, oh, what if I did like a darker take on like Animal Crossing and like kind of like the forest being on fire or something. And it was kind of like an idea, and I had a little bit. But then there was the whole thing with like Doom, and Doom uh, Eternal got in that, and then there was like all these crossovers, and I don't know. I always think of Animal Crossing as kind of cute, so I don't really want to like mess with that unless I get good inspiration. Let me just go through these. What song is most fun to work on this album? Definitely the one I mentioned earlier, Pagey Power, which is the 50th song. Uh, that one, it was like a whole medley. It's a medley of like mostly, if not all, of Matt Griffin's songs, who composed the most music in that game. And um, the original Pagey Power song is like it's like a minute long, and it's just kind of going back and forth between these chords. And so I just took out the melody after a certain point and just started like kind of putting in like references to all the other music, and I had a lot of fun on that. Let me get. Okay, yeah, more questions. Show us how to do samples, or how to do samples. So yeah, I guess at some point I'll do a more thorough, probably tutorial on how to use NES VST and stuff like that, because you can make chipped-in remixes, or you can just use it as a 8-bitty sounding lead in your own music. Doesn't even have to be like 8-bit stuff, but it's one of the most like accurate sounding ones, and the most accurate when you make each instrument to how they actually would do it on the NES. How to end up landing this gig? They reached out to me a couple days after the game came out and just asked if I would be interested. Favorite song? Okay, yeah, so I answered that. Uh, would I consider remixes of more modern games? Well, this is a modern game, so I'm already doing that. But I like to mix it up. I don't know what I've done recently, but I like to do anything I can that sounds fun. So if it means something from the Super Nintendo days or something from last year, like I'm not really actively thinking about it. Okay, cool. That should be all the questions that were sent to me, but I'll check again on a different spot. Do you ever go back to your older remixes just to listen to how you evolved? Yes. I I wouldn't want to like take them down, but like there's definitely points where I figured out things, and I think now I'm at a point where um, like the only way I've tried to improve, like I mean even this album, like this is 50 songs. I've been working on this for months. Um, I feel like I even improved throughout this album. If you go back to like my oldest remixes, you'll notice like the drums are just atrocious. Uh, I didn't even really detune that much. Like there's some ways of doing echo and reverb on like where it's NES accurate, and which I'll show off in a second when I do the. Oh, I just realized I've got like FL Studio sitting open. It's not on my screen because I'm streaming, but yeah, no, I go back and listen every once in a while, and I find it sort of encouraging because it's like I've only been doing this for like 2 years because um, yeah, I don't know. I only thought of doing this kind of thing 2017, so it's been approaching the third year. Um, which hourly theme is my favorite in New Horizons? 12 p.m. And I have theories about that game's music, but I enjoy the music. I think it's probably not my favorite in the series. I like New Leafs better, but 5 p.m. a lot of people like. I enjoy it too, but 12 p.m. has got to be my favorite. I just love that it's like upbeat. Um, as soon as I heard it in one of the trailers, it was like an instant favorite. Staying hydrated. All right, what else? I think that probably is all for that. I can go in. If you had advice for yourself 1 year ago, what would it be? 1 year ago, what was I doing 1 year ago? I think I was dealing with, I was like demonetized for a month, or a couple weeks or so. Um, I don't know. Advice. What can you say? Keep going. Keep trying. Stick with it. Those are all good things. I would say advice I would tell myself is like, and I would tell other people who are aspiring to this kind of thing too, because I love seeing like new people rising up and like um, doing music remixes and especially if I like them, uh, because like yeah. So I guess what I would say is just like uh, yeah, just keep going even if you don't get a lot of views, and don't try to like pander to like certain audiences. Just do stuff you like to do, and um, don't try to like get people to shout you out, or don't try to um, manipulate your way in. Like if you really like keep at it, you'll be recognized for it. So, um, and that's not really advice to myself because like I don't know that I think my growth was bigger that past year. I don't know. I haven't really paid attention to that, but since answering it could take 5 to 10 minutes, that's true. I like to ramble. Let's get into some of this behind the scenes stuff. So this is where I make my remixes normally. I have like templates set up, um, but yeah, this remix was no, actually let's go into. I'm gonna turn it off for a second. Um, oh wait, no, hold on, that's the wrong thing. Boom. Uh, I'll go into one of the ones that I actually played. Um, I don't want to go into this for that long because I think I did talk about a lot of the stuff I probably would have talked about normally. Uh, have I heard of other 8-bit channels like Bulby? Yes. Originally when I started my channel, I wasn't planning to do primarily chiptune and 8-bit remixes. Um, and so at that point, I had kind of heard of them, but they became an influence for me later on as I was like deciding that that was going to be the direction I was going in, uh, and so like I've talked with them a lot and gotten advice from them on stuff, and um, I love to see like kind of what remixes everyone's doing at the same time, and like I saw Looter just posted uh, Animal Crossing remix, so go check that out. Um, like I might do like one or two more of those. Maybe not even just in chiptune, but I don't know. I've really wanted to do like some more Donkey Kong Country stuff, but this album is kind of like that too. So, um, okay. Oh, Kanana, yes. Was the first remix you made you think, wow, wow, I think that's actually the best thing I've ever made. Definitely the instrumental ones I did a couple months ago in January. I did, yeah. So I talked about it earlier. Diddy Kong Racing DS had some amazing music, but it's limited by the speakers of the DS, which were not very good, and it was also sample based. And so I wanted to kind of remake them, but also do my own adjustments. And I also have some in the works right now that are like that I'm really happy with and excited to get out. But I've been having some trouble with that. And also, uh, I've been putting out a couple originals. Occasionally, I put out an original on my SoundCloud, and I was really proud of that one. I feel like from doing this ukulele project, I've also learned a lot about music composition, which I've always kind of been interested in, and I've been working on. But I've I find that the stuff I've written lately has been more consistent, and uh, usually when I start something, I'll actually finish it instead of getting stuck on it for months and months and months, which still does happen, and that's cool. That's fine. Um, That was one thing that I was insecure about for a while, was if I get stuck on something for a while, I just shelve it. And sometimes that is what you want to do, but if you stick through with it, it also will still be good. So just go with your gut. Do you know of any small indie games I'd like to give a shout out? Oh, put me on the spot. I don't know. Small indie games. I have to rain check on that one. If there's a stream 2 or something, maybe I'll go with that. Uh, what's my least favorite remix I made? I don't know. If there's one that's the least favorite, but I can't say that any are least favorite. Like maybe my older stuff. It's not. By the way, I'm sorry for my my FL Studio window has just been loading for like the last couple minutes. I'm literally just waiting for it to load, and then I'll get into it. But I'll just take more questions. Remixes came out nicely. When are you gonna make a tune for Cracklestone? I would love to do something like that. Um, uh, I've always been interested in like doing kind of inspired remixes, like with specifically the Impossible Lair soundtrack. While I did all the 8-bit stuff, I also had a couple where I thought, oh, this would be really cool if I did like a synthwave styled thing. Um, but that's sort of the next stage. I'll probably post one or two of those because there are a couple Impossible Lair uh, songs that I would have wanted to like totally change up, but in order to maintain the fact that you can switch them in the game and stuff like that, it was decided that they would have to be one-to-one with the actual soundtracks, and I think it's better for it. What do you imagine my first finished game to be about? I've always wanted to make games, but I don't really know how to do that. I'm learning about that kind of thing, but I don't have anything to announce on that right now, unfortunately. How hard is making my own tracks? If you're talking about originals, um, about the same as remixes. I sit down, usually have a keyboard somewhere. Like I said, I'm kind of in a makeshift setup right now because of the event going on in the world right now that has caused people to have to move out of places. I was saying earlier, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on YouTube, but you might know what I'm talking about. Uh, I have a small keyboard that I probably should set up soon, but sometimes, yeah, I'll just like riff on that and get a melody that I like, and then or sometimes I'll do like a chord structure that I like, and then write a melody to that. Um, yeah. And yeah, I like to keep a variety too. I don't want to write the same thing every time. So, like, I did an upbeat one the other day. Probably the next one will be super. Hey, it's up. Okay, I'm so sorry. It is just loaded. So I don't even need this controller anymore. So I'm gonna put this away. So this is as I showed you before, except this is an actual song that we heard in game. This was one of the factory levels, and this is the one that I said was specifically inspired by Battletoads. So I want to show actually how and why that is. If I hit play here, I'll just play a little bit of the song, maybe 10 seconds. All right. I just want to play a little bit of that so you hear it. I also noticed the composer of this song is actually in the chat right now. So hey Dan. Um, Basically, yeah. So when I heard this song originally, I also play the original. Um, nope, that's not the original. That's the song that uh, I referenced a lot. But uh, this is the original song. Actually, I can turn this on. Really, the biggest thing. Well, here, I'll wait. So I don't know if you can hear those both and distinguish them, but they have the same melody. But what I wanted to do is, there were some songs in the soundtrack that I wanted to really uproot the feel of and kind of like give like a big twist on it so that it keeps it interesting. And so for this one, somehow early on I got the idea to mix in a reference to this Battletoads song, which is again, it's just track 3. I don't know what it's called, but this one was by David Wise, and I'll just play a little bit. It's the one where you're like falling down the again, I don't even remember what you're falling down, but it's like you're holding like a rope and swinging around. And also, a big thing, like these echo effects were hugely influential. So if you hear that kind of sound, now when you hear this, where is it? Like here. And keep in mind, none of this is actually sampled from the song. I just recreated a lot of the sounds, but I wanted to really harken back to some of the old Rare days as well, because Rare started out doing like NES games and games for like something called the ZX Spectrum, I think. But because Yooka-Laylee and Rare, Platonic and Rare, they shared some of the same team from back in those days, especially David Wise, who's a composer. I wanted to reference a lot of that in this, and so some people have also been interested in seeing like. Sorry about I'm very poorly organized, and I don't name my instruments very well. These are usually done in 1 or 2 sittings, so I just remember where everything is. But this is like what an average instrument in FL Studio and NES VST, which is the VST I use for chiptune music. This is what it looks like in the interface that I use. So if I just play like on my keyboard. By the way, let me know if the audio is coming through. I just realized, is there like audio? I hope so. I'm very new to streaming, so I assume because no one has alerted me that it's okay. Yes, that is such a good point. 8-bit and 16-bit are such buzzwords, and I actually do hate putting like 8-bit and stuff on remixes, but I kind of got over it because it's like it's totally like 8-bit has literally nothing to do with the music. It's just the memory, but like you know, I mean, it's kind of been co-opted into this. Like when you hear 8-bit music, it's a thing that like it usually means music you would hear on the NES. And whenever I think of 8-bit music, I also think of like, you know, like Super Mario Brothers, Kirby, Battletoads, stuff like that. Like very bleeps and bloops and all that. But yeah, of course, if I say, oh, this song is 8-bit, that doesn't mean anything to like an actual like to someone who like if I just said that and they don't know what 8-bit music is, yeah. My FL Studio file is disgusting to look at. I agree. I'm very bad at managing all this stuff. Look at all this. I'll go through a couple of these instruments. You can see, I plan at some point maybe even do like a full tutorial on like how to get some of these sounds and make some of these sounds for yourself. Because it's not like these are lifted from anywhere. I create all of these in this interface. By the way, this is glitched out. Okay. By the way, if you hear that coming from like the right ear, that's because, yeah, again, this was done stereo because we decided that it would be better suited to the 3D visuals to do it stereo. But yeah, so if I go through some of these, you can see like right away I have just like a billion different instruments. And unfortunately, like, okay, yeah, so then the other thing, I find it easier to manage the channel limits if I just do everything in one pattern like this. So all of the music that you hear, yeah, it's all in the same pattern because I really just don't like having to go back. Like whenever I do any other remixes, totally I don't even worry about that. I do them all in separate patterns. But for this, it's just easier to see because a lot of times I'm quickly switching out channels to stay under the channel limit to be like I believe it's like the sound chip is known as like 2A03 sound chip, which is like the sound chip used for kind of like when you think of NES music, that's what it is. There's a lot of other sound chips too that were used in like specific games, but yeah, so if I show like, oh yeah, I used No, I didn't do that for this one. Never mind. Just. And then yeah, for the echo, as you can see, I do like manual echo because I don't want it to accidentally exceed the channel limits. Um, Hopefully none of this stuff. Usually like, yeah, like this one right here. Yeah, that's barely not even audible. And then like even these like, gosh, I just do everything the hard way, don't I? For arpeggios, I just go into like, I think I'm on the right setting actually. Yeah, I just go into here and do it manually. Sometimes I've made like an instrument that actually does the arpeggio, but I can control it easier this way. Let's see what people are saying. I prefer remixing 8-bit songs in mono or stereo. Yeah, mono. I mean, I always do it mono because that's what the NES. The NES doesn't do stereo. Like I said, the only reason I did stereo for this is because it just sounded better in-game. And I did this by listening to it while gameplay of the game was going. I just thought, it's a 3D game, there's a 3D space. If it's mono, it just feels really weird, like you're taken out. Especially because it's chiptuned. And that's already kind of clashing with some of the visuals. So, normally I do mono, and actually I could even render this in mono, but right now it's in stereo. Oh, I don't even have half. I forgot that whole part isn't even it. Alright, let's move on to another song. I'll do one more song. Yeah, I'll show this one. This next one I'll do is by David Wise originally. It's called Factory Frights. And originally I posted this one on YouTube back when it was like first like revealed, like before the game even came out. Like I was just like I mean, whenever like new music for a game I like drops, I'm really excited, but I just got like very, very motivated to do a remix, and so I put it out in like a couple hours. But I went back for this to not only like remaster it for stereo and to bring it up to standards, to the standards that I was at when I was making this whole album, but I also got to rework like a bunch of parts to sound better, in my opinion, and so I'll show those. Did my phone just die? No. Cool. Yeah, disclaimer, complete disclaimer. Nothing, mostly, nothing I did in this this cover album was original. It was all remixes. The only song where there's anything remotely original was, there's a couple songs where I did just kind of like improvised solos, and then I would like convert it to like chiptune instruments, and then put that over where a medley or melody was. Otherwise, the last song, which again I said was like my favorite one to work on, the entire end of that was just like improvised solos that I did on my keyboard. And I'm sorry, this is gonna take forever to load. You can probably see it's just like, what is going on? My computer, it's because of the stream. It's because I've got a game open in another window, and all this stuff. I've already been on for longer than I thought I would. I hope this has been enjoyable. I'm sorry this isn't the most professional stream. I thought it would be pretty chill because, you know, we're all stuck at home. Like, what do you have to do? I could have put on a suit and tie, but I mean, I am kind of dressed for the occasion. But my phone will actually die in a second because it's at 1%. Don't delete. Yeah, I won't delete the live video. I like what's going on in the chat. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Taking out the time to like do this, because like I really wanted a way to like share this and talk about this, and I thought it was the perfect time to also sort of just talk about how I do like my remixes as well. So yeah, this one's Factory Fright. I'll play a little bit of the original first. That'll be a change. I'll do the original, so you can hear like what I heard and then what I decided to do with it. Again, by David Wise. But definitely get a lot of like mining melancholy vibes from it. There's something else. I always can kind of pinpoint where the kind of inspiration comes from. Something like Donkey Kong Country 3 for the Game Boy Advance. So you can hear the vibe of that. It's very metallic. It's got a lot of yeah, a lot of like probably actual like, because I know one of the things David Wise is known for is using a lot of natural sounds and natural percussion from things that take place in that level. So it probably is some like samples from like stuff like that, but whatever it is, it fits the mood perfectly. So here's my version. I'll just play a little bit of that. Oh no, so yeah, if you missed it, that song that I just played was not the one I wrote. Or, I didn't write any of it, this is the remix, but this is the thing I made. I would love to be sponsored by Mountain Dew. I would be very knowledgeable. That's all I can say. I don't know what they do. I'm not a streamer, and I don't plan to become a streamer, but yeah, hit me up, Mountain Dew. So yeah, okay, so first thing I was really proud of with this one was I did like this interesting thing, and I got the idea from someone, a remix I heard, and I tried to replicate a similar thing, and in the background of this song, there's kind of like these little chords going on, like kind of very faintly. So for mine, I wanted to, and they have like, it's not just the same exact sound every time. They have a lot of modulation going on, and the dynamics are changing. So I wanted to replicate that in chiptune, but you can't really do that because chiptune is so like restricted. But I think this is it. Yeah. So here's the painstakingly horrible process I did for this. So I don't know if you noticed, but, and I'll just loop on that. Basically, to make it have the same background rhythm, but change over time, I made like different steps of the progression. And I was kind of proud of that, like that I got it working, at least. Because a lot of this stuff is not so obvious, and that's kind of the whole underlying thing I want to show off if I ever do a tutorial, is the not obvious stuff when it comes, because chiptune, you know, you could just play some notes, put in some stuff, bleeps and bloops, there, you got a song. But like, there's a lot of like really clever stuff that can be done. It's not even that hard, it's just a matter of knowing how to do it. I really liked the drums of this. I think that's like the first time I ever did those kinds of drums, and that really came into, let's play. Yeah, like the kind of thundering drums that I did in this, I never really had the idea to do stuff like that in any other remixes because there's not really that much stuff like that. But throughout this soundtrack, there's tons of places where I was just like, oh yeah, let's bring those in. And so I would just like either bring it in or recreate it because I'm usually really inefficient. Uh, okay, actually, yeah. So now I guess I'll open it up. If there's any specific questions about this cover album, the soundtrack, if there's any fans of this game that are watching that have a specific song that they'd want to see behind the scenes of, or something, like, I'd love to show that. I'm just kind of, at this point, I think I've got pretty much all I wanted to show out of the way. Oh, cool. I see we got some talk about what workstations to use. I definitely recommend, Fruity Loops is great. It's very affordable, very cheap. It comes with a great plugin called Flex, which just came out like maybe a year ago, and it has so many awesome free patches you can use and synths and sounds you can use. And I've been having a ball just messing with that. I haven't really done much with it for actual stuff on my channel, but like if you don't want to do 8-bit stuff, you've got a whole library of stuff already with that. I also recommend, not sponsored, although it would be really awesome if anyone would sponsor me, although I can't really do. Uh, there's a service called Composer Cloud that is offered by East West, and it's very affordable. It's especially with student discount because I'm a university student. If you have a student discount, you can get a reduced price per month, and it's a subscription service, and you download tons and tons of like really good libraries from East West. So you get like orchestral stuff, pretty much mostly orchestral stuff, but you get some other like experimental stuff, just tons of instruments, and I've had a ton of fun with that. I recommend if you want to hear like what I've kind of made with that. Some of that stuff's on my SoundCloud, usually all original, and that's just kind of the stuff that I've been working on with that. But my phone did just die, so I'm moving to on here. Sorry if that was loud. Oh yeah, okay. If you want to do, my lights keep flashing. This is new to me. I don't know what that means. I don't know. It. Oh, you know what it is? It's because my camera, my webcam, which I just got. I'm not really used to it. I only just got a webcam for like because of this social distancing stuff. It just happened to work out because yeah, if I didn't have it, I'd just be talking right now. But it's because it's trying to focus. So if I move, it'll like probably try to focus. And yeah, for films, I know that they have an add-on for FL Studio where you can do um, like real time, like you can score stuff in real time, like having like a video player open. But I've never done that. I don't know. Film composing sounds cool. I'd love to do that sometime, but I'm not really sure how far this like composing thing is going to go. But I'm always looking for new projects. I'm available for commissions. If anybody has a game, if anyone has a project, if you want a channel theme for your YouTube channel, I'll write that. Just hit me up. I've already written a couple channel themes for a couple people. That stuff will be on my SoundCloud usually. Um, and I mean, I can't even oversell how important like a channel theme is to a channel. It's like your biggest branding besides your like an intro theme or just like a full-fledged song. Like besides just your logo, like the channel theme is like the outro theme. You've always got like people talking about that. Like if you go on those, like pick some famous YouTuber, go to find their outro, and you go in the comments, and it's just all people talking about, oh, I came here from this YouTuber, and I think it's essential for branding. So if you want to do a YouTube channel, I could do music for that. What else is going on here? What is my favorite movie score? That's also really good. What's my favorite movie score? I mean, of course, it would be Star Wars stuff. I love Star Wars. I love John Williams. I mean, yeah, it has to be really Empire Strikes Back. although I wouldn't say that that style of writing has really any influence on my own. I mean, it has some, but uh, if I think of anything else, like I love John Williams, love Michael Giacchino or Giacchino. I can't remember, and I hate that. But he's done like tons of stuff. He did like Lost. He did a Star Wars movie. Um, he did a bunch of Pixar films. Uh, so like the Pixar music, probably some of the music that you remember the most is by him. Uh, alright, it's in my Oh, I've got a direct message question. I'll tell you what. I'll get back to you on that later. I don't think I have enough time to read that. Uh, I think I could do short questions right now. I'm scrolling up because I'm sure there's other questions that have been asked that I've missed because can you show Scarce or Scroll? I will. Oh, the non-docked one. Actually, yes. Give me 1 second. Uh, there. Let me just switch over to that. I picked like five or so that I was considering on it showing, and so I showed two, and that was not one of the ones I picked, but I can easily go find it. It is just buried in my files somewhere. Uh, Real quick, I'll read another question. I say there will be a few giveaways. There will be giveaways at another time. Unfortunately, that'll have to be on like Twitter or um, maybe in the next YouTube video. I'll have more announcements for that. Um, Understandably, because of coronavirus. Ooh, I shouldn't have said that. YouTube, don't get me. That's fine. It's been like an hour. They're not gonna come through that. Because of the virus. I know there's been a lot of stuff, and so I did not get codes yet for sending out and for giveaways. So I'll get on that as soon as I get them. What was I doing? I was going into my files, and yeah, I would say the stream will probably wrap up in 10 or so minutes. I'll answer any last questions, show off this last song, because also the person that asked it was I mentioned him earlier as being one of the sort of founding members of the YouTube channel. Let me just find. All right, I'm pulling it up. All right, what else? So I'm not gonna make my webcam full screen because that would make me uncomfortable. Okay, let's look at the newer stuff. My screen went black. Yeah, you're talking about this. It's because I was going through files and FL Studio right now is just not like open, but it'll be a little while. What was the one game that made me absolutely fall in love with music? And then you say right after, I'm gonna assume it's Diddy Kong Racing or a Donkey Kong Country game, and you are absolutely correct about that. The first game I ever played was Diddy Kong Racing on my dad's actually N64. That the game was like it was like a couple years old at that point, but um, when I played it, like I had played some games like probably at a friend's house or something, but that was the first game like I owned, and right away like I already loved the music, and I was always like humming it, and I have so many great memories of that game, and it wasn't until later that uh, I got interested in like who all the composers were for these games, and then I found out like David Wise had composed that game and Donkey Kong Country. This is all a long, long time ago, but at that point it was solidified that I was like a fan of this, and I'm also a huge Donkey Kong Country fan. So like, I'd played like the original trilogy, Returns, and the music for that always stood out to me. Black screen. Okay, hold on. Would you consider doing remixes of other YouTubers' original songs? I would, but I don't know what the thing is. Nintendo, and I try to be careful now more than ever that there's like reason for me to believe that I have permission to do remixes because like Star Wars and stuff. Like I mentioned that earlier as being an inspiration. Um, I like those when you upload a remix, instant copyright claim, and like that's not a big deal. I don't really care about that. It's just it kind of worries me because I did once get demonetized for because YouTube thought I was just uploading tons of music that I didn't own. And the thing is, Nintendo explicitly allows remixes in their online policy. Um, they I try to be careful with and research what a company's stance is before I start uploading remixes. So um, it's very loud. Oh yeah, okay, never mind. I thought that was talking about my chat. According to this interview, someday I'll do a Tater-Tot mukbang video, and then you'll be sorry. And yes, sorry dude, Grant Kirkhope, he's a good composer to be your favorite. He's in my top two favorite composers are, of course, probably David Wise, Grant Kirkhope, in that order. Um, and that's why it's so surreal to be able to work on a project like this. Um, yeah, no, like Grant Kirkhope, my first introduction to him was GoldenEye, and um, then the banjo games. And my favorite thing of his has got to be the Mario Rabbids soundtrack. That just like blew me away. Like, it's like a movie score. It's a full movie score. It's so good. Okay, let's see if this is open. So this is open. Give me a second. All right, let me share that. Cool. All right, so this is Scareship Scroll. I was thinking like, what is my favorite song by like each composer in this remix album, and this one's definitely a contender for my favorite by David Wise. It reminds me a lot of his Snake Pass music and his music from Star Fox Adventures, both of which are, of course, also outstanding. I recommend listening to those. Let's play through a little bit. Do I have the song here? This one, I think I challenged myself to do pretty much just a faithful recreation. Sorry, I just realized, I hope this looks like, it's been completely disorganized. Oh yeah, and this one is one of the ones that I would say is Kirby styled. I did like a Kirby style bass. The triangle is just doing kind of Kirby things, but it's still very faithful. After this stream, what I might do is make this unlisted, but have a link to it in one of my Yooka Laylee Impossible Lair uploads. Just because it's a little bit less, it's a little bit more rambly than I wish it was, but what can you do? Sometime in the future I'll get better. Oh, I can do this. You want to see how that looks. Again, like this whole thing right here, like technically speaking, there's a way easier way that I could have done that sound effect, but it would have even been like there's no like audio difference really, but like the NES didn't have that many different levels of volume. You just have to take my word for the fact that it sounds pretty much exactly like it would. Anyway. Uh, yeah, no. So for this one, um, I there were a couple that I received a little bit of extra help on when there were some parts I couldn't figure out, and so I had to. Um, this one, there's not really as much stuff that I can really show, like uh, that would be that interesting. I can show some of the instruments. I can show like the that one. So when I made this like the opening flute part, let me see. Let me play that. Just listen out for the flute. Um, I really like thought it'd be cool to just get that same thing going in here. So this is actually what it looks like. Where is it? Turn that off. So it's made up of like two different instruments, and I have like the portamento on, and what you hear based on that is the resulting melody. Yeah, and then like I don't know if this is typical or if I'm just missing something, but the way I do it, whenever I need like a little bit of articulation, uh, I'll just copy the instrument and just make a completely separate one with like that little bit. So that one, that's instrument A2. So you can see right there in the fine pitch, it's kind of like bending upward. But the normal one, instrument A. And then like if you see these things back here, that's fake reverb that supported by NES restrictions. Yeah, alright, I'll look through some more comments. Do I play Minecraft? I've gotten back into it. I've joined the DK Vine server Minecraft that's for Patreon members. And it's mainly committed to building uh, building locations and locales from like the Donkey Kong Country series and the Yooka-Laylee series as well. And so for me, I've been building a Diddy Kong Racing racetrack off somewhere, and I've just been having fun with that. And DK Vine is like, oh yeah, yeah. So Dan, the composer of uh, the state change version of that song, um, yeah, it wasn't lost on me that the backgrounds, uh, what is it? Is it like the harp part? It's kind of like walking down, but it wasn't lost on me that there were a lot of like interconnectivity. There's a lot of interconnectivity with those, which is really cool. It reminds me of like the Sonic the Hedgehog series, where like um, you'd have each game, or you'd have like each act would have like a different song, but it would be like the same melody, but kind of interpreted differently. Um, all right, let's see what else. Okay, that's caught up. What I feel is a very typical David Wise like chord progression. So I don't know if I'm gonna let you down with this answer, but I'm not very. I know some things about music theory, but it's all kind of self-taught. So when you ask me a specific chord progression, I don't know what to call that kind of thing. But I can instead sort of elaborate like with David Wise's style of music, like um, usually for stuff like Sticker Brush Symphony and a lot of those like really famous ones. I don't even know the technical terms for this kind of stuff, but I know a lot of times you would have like a chord, and then it would have just kind of one or two little shifts each bar, and that would give it a very like surreal and kind of like natural feel. And I think he did that probably. Well, no, I know for sure he did that in a song in this game. Uh, Frantic Fountains Frozen. That one was very atmospheric, and I can play it. I hope this audio pops up. Um, like the chords in this are very like you hear this and you instantly know it's by David Wise. A lot of people, and I agree, have said that this reminds them a lot of like a mix sort of between Sticker Symphony and in a Snowbound Land, both from Donkey Kong Country 2. But I also feel like there's a lot of other things there that are just totally new, like styles to bring in. All right. I'll take any last questions. It's 2:53, so yeah, in the next couple minutes I want to wrap up, and I want to go eat because I'm hungry. Hello. I see someone said hello to me. Yeah, yeah. So again, to kind of cap off on that, uh, yeah, no, like years and years ago, I tried my hand at writing music on GarageBand app on my phone, and I was not good at it, and they were all really weird, and I moved on to remixes, and through remixing, so I would say if you want to learn like music theory stuff without sitting through classes, which I recommend, I guess, I don't know, do whatever works for you. Um, I noticed that I picked up like when I go and write stuff now, it's so much more. Um, Everything feels way more purposeful. Like when I choose the chords that I want. Um, like I don't know the technical terms behind a lot of that stuff, but I know the general ideas, and that's kind of what matters. If I ever met David Wise in person yet, I have. Um, I went to MagFest this past January, and was very uh, lucky to be able to attend a, a performance that he, Kevin Bayliss, and two other musicians did. Who they as part of like a band for their album that's coming out, which I mentioned earlier. Um, and then after that, they did like a signing session, and um, the problem was I could not talk about this project, and so it's in a public place, and it's just not really the place, but it was really cool, really cool experience, and it motivated me a lot for this project as well, just being in that atmosphere. I look forward to going back to MagFest definitely in the future. I don't know about like next year or a year after, but that was my first year also. Um, um, oh yeah, okay. So if you want me to elaborate, like, well, I just I mean, I told him like everyone did how much of an influence his music has had on me, and my love for music as well. And like I know for sure I certainly would not be here doing this without his music as inspiration. Um, there's a few core like composers that like serve as the biggest inspiration for me, and he's definitely like one of the biggest cornerstones there. And um, yeah, and they also, I have to plug this too. They did a really cool talk uh, called Retro Rare, and they did this talk in front of an audience that I was also in attendance for at Magfest, and they talked. Dave talked about like a lot of like his music writing processes, and what it was like back in the day doing 8-bit stuff. So I mean, hey, I was sitting there, I'm like, huh, that's cool. Like, that's relevant to me. And then Kev Bayless took the next half of the time and talked about a lot of his artwork and what it was like to make like a lot of the Donkey Kong Country characters, and what it was like to work um, in also voice acting too. And it's super cool. And in fact, like I recommend looking for it. It's called Retro Rare, and it's on the Magfest YouTube channel right now. It's about an hour long, and it's well worth the sit through. And you'll see. I mean, you probably won't be able to find me, but I found myself in the video. You can see like my hair in like one of the front rows. Um, oh yeah, okay. Let me see this. Do what do I prefer you call me? That's a good question, because I was having this internal dilemma a couple days ago when I was signing all this stuff to do this project to make it go live. I didn't know if I wanted to be out there with like my real name or if I wanted to do just Tater-Tot tunes. But like I've always seen it as like Tater-Tot tunes is the channel, it's the platform that I do it on, but that's not me. Like I'm just a guy. Like I'm not I'm not the character. But that's kind of how it's become, and I blame Discord for that. Discord kind of brought that up, but that's sort of not really something I ever like intended. And so, you call me whatever you like, um, uh, if you have to. But yeah, uh, awesome. And yeah, sometime in the future, I would love to show off more behind the scenes stuff of other tracks. Although I want to limit it to this because this just came out, so I'm gonna wrap up. But I wanted to say thank you guys all for watching. Thank you for supporting this album, supporting the stream, and for supporting me over the years. If you want to check out this album, again, it's available on Bandcamp to purchase, as well as available for listening on Spotify, iTunes, and a couple other things that I don't know, but it's there. You can go on, I have a link for it somewhere uh, that I'll post here. It's a nice thing that Materia put together that links. It'll be hard not to call you Tot. You can call me whatever you want. What is ISO posted? Anyway, there's the link right there. So you can listen to the soundtrack. You can also, you just stream it off Bandcamp. Again, it will not be on my channel. It will only be there. So if you like it, if you want to download it, if you want to support it, like bookmark it or download it or something. And I really hope in the future to have even more things to announce in terms of my own projects and things possibly coming to Bandcamp and other stuff. But um, yeah, since my phone's dead, I guess I'll check Discord and make sure there's nothing else I missed. I did get pinged once. Expand the fan cam to take up the full screen. I did say that I wouldn't do that. Yeah, so anyway, this has been a sort of co-stream for promoting this album and Yooka Laylee Impossible Lair. I really, if you haven't played this game, it's so worth it. I recommend you play it. You get it. There's demos. I didn't even mention that. There's demos. Here I am not even mentioning that. There are demos uh, available on all the platforms, I think. So you can try this game out, and you can try the Impossible Lair, and you can beat it if you're good enough. But if you want to experience the full game, it's well worth the price. And there's even some sales going on right now, but I highly recommend checking it out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll be sticking around in Discord if you have any more questions. And I'll see about putting this up on my channel, but thank you very much, and have a good day, and stay safe.